I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Polling Bush hatred. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Scott Rasmussen might be the best pollster in America right now. He nailed the Obama-McCain race, and his questions are clear and concise, not confusing and misleading. The latest Rasmussen poll asks three simple questions. One, should Congress hold hearings to determine if President Bush and members of his administration committed war crimes? 60% said no. 28% yes, 12% don't know. Two, are President Bush and senior members of the Bush administration guilty of committing war crimes? 54% say no. 25% yes, 21% not sure. And three, if President Bush and his administration are brought to trial for war crimes, would that be good or bad for the United States? A whopping 70% say bad, just 19% say good, 11% not sure. So once again, a poll proves Americans to be fair-minded and level-headed. But what about those 19%? Well, many of those people are so poisoned by ideology, they hate Mr. Bush and anyone else with whom they disagree. Your mom warns you never to talk about politics or religion, and those people are the reason why. When you come across someone who does not respect opposing points of view, just walk away. Those people can never be trusted. Now, one of the villains in the current hate-Bush climate is Congressman John Conyers of Michigan. Now, I like Conyers personally. I ran into him a few years ago at the Super Bowl in Miami, and I enjoyed talking with him. But Conyers would gravely damage America because of his far-left ideology. He is the primary get-Bush guy in Congress right now. But here's the deal on Conyers. When President Clinton got into trouble on the perjury beef, Conyers ardently defended him and attacked those who wanted accountability. Can you explain that, Congressman? Can you explain why President Clinton should not be held to account for a provable offense, but President Bush should be hammered when there is no hard evidence that he did anything illegal at all? Simple question, Congressman. We await your reply. Now, fair-minded Americans realize some of their countrymen have a political neurosis, and it runs both ways, liberal and conservative. But we can't allow these people to damage the country. President Obama understands that, apparently, and should forcefully put this hate-Bush nonsense down. If there is probable cause, repeat, probable cause, then investigate by all means. If not, knock it off. We have far more important things to worry about. And that's a memo. Now for our top story reaction to the poll and the hate Bush crew. Joining us from Los Angeles, Tammy Bruce. And here in the studio, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, both are Fox News analysts. All right, let's go to Conyers first. I mean, is there a contradiction here?
I would say no, there's not a contradiction.
You would honestly say no?
Honestly, I don't think there's a contradiction because there's an issue on the one hand with Bill Clinton, which has very little to do with the well-being of the American people or the world community. On the other hand, when you talk about war crimes, you're talking about violations of humanity. You're talking about violation of the Geneva Conventions and other international law. That's a different issue. But even if you happen to think that there is a contradiction, that only means that Bill Clinton should be on the hook, not that George Bush should be off the hook.
All right. The last point is valid, but certainly a president, if the president commits perjury while in office, affects every American. It affects every American, and that's where you're wrong. The last point, what do you say, Tammy?
Well, it takes a liberal to suggest or to say directly that liberating 53 million people is a war crime. It takes liberals to say that keeping this nation safe from another horrific attack by terrorists amounts to a war crime, and keeping this nation safe is a war crime. That, in fact, at all defending this nation is a crime in and of itself. The truth is, you're right. That poll showed that Americans are clear thinking, that we make up our own minds at this point. And I'm all for liberals exposing even more so the fact that they think that the liberation of people around the world, that keeping this nation safe, is a crime in and of itself. And you're right, Barack Obama, in order to separate himself from these kinds of people, needs to be forceful. And yet, the new White House website, which is effectively a Barack Obama vanity page, has already gone after the Bush team, has gone after the previous administration.
Well,
so
give me specifics.
Bill,
I haven't seen that. Well, how
on Katrina, they talk about how it was an abandonment on Katrina. Well, but it's the first week, and I think there's a request for respect across the board in these initial weeks, and I'd like to see it across the board.
But there's a difference here.
Well, I want to get involved with probable cause, though. I mean, there is. Look, did you read Scott McClellan's book?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, he had nothing. He had nothing. And now here is the White House spokesperson who hates Bush because of, he got booted out of there or whatever. And he writes a 400 or 500-page book. I read the book. He's got nothing.
Yeah, but Bill, the same people who say that he has nothing are people who said that McClellan really didn't have access to the innermost conversations.
Well, maybe that's true.
So it's not fair to appeal to McClellan.
McClellan's got nothing on his tell-all book. Woodward wrote a book, didn't do well. He didn't have anything, no probable cause. So you don't have anything on the table that says look, in order to launch an investigation. No, You don't investigate without probable cause. That's not how it works.
But there is probable cause, and that's what we need to look at. When we talk about Guantanamo, when we talk about Abu Ghraib, there are reports from FBI agents, from guards, from many people who said that there's a structural sort of attempt to torture and to abuse prisoners, and that's what we're talking about. And this is something that George Bush dismissed as, sort of a few bad eggs or a few bad apples. And what we see here is a structural issue, and so let's investigate those structural issues. That's what Harry Reid.
The only probable cause is one person in Guantanamo said, and that she described, loud music, stress positions. What do you say to that, Tammy, that there's been enough news reporting to raise it to probable cause? I don't agree, but what do you say?
And guards and agents.
No, loud music and standing for long hours and not having enough water. It's what I experienced in West Hollywood on occasion. The truth of the matter is, this is classic Bush derangement syndrome. It's something that was coined by Charles Krauthammer, I believe, where these are individuals who are obsessed and paranoid about the president, and they're going to have to, in one of their favorite phrases, move on sooner than later, because it just makes no sense.
Unless
These are people
there's a smoking gun or something comes up.
They need to be in a psychiatrist's office.
I got to go, but you don't expect Barack Obama to go into this witch hunt mode, do you?
No, because he doesn't have the political courage to pursue justice. It's not personal. It's about justice.
Well, he might be a fair man.
Derangement.
He might be a fair
derangement.
I think he
might be a fair man.
I think he's fairly centrist.
You're saying he's a coward. I
do so. On this issue, I think he's being a coward.
I think he might be fair.
If he's fair, then he's wrong.
Not in my opinion.
Or he's just
but
not
that was a good
deranged,
debate,
maybe.
Dr. Tammy. Thanks very much.